Right now, it's time for our local business review. Wendy and Barry and Lorraine are all here again. And I'm excited because today I learned from you guys yesterday that it's SBDC Day.
Woo-hoo! We're having a party.
So what does SBDC Day mean? That's Small Business Development Center Day. And it's not just for St. Cloud, right? There's small business development centers all over the place.
Exactly. Yes, it is.
Take that away, Lorraine.
Why, thank you. It actually, the Small Business Development Center program, which falls underneath the Small Business Administration, was established 42 years ago. And 40 years ago, St. Cloud State was instrumental in bringing that to Minnesota.
Pretty exciting. And it's made a difference in a lot of people's lives, right? On both sides of the fence. Business side of the fence, plus those of us that get to enjoy those businesses in our area. Well, Barry, you're center stage today, and you've got a bunch of statistics for us, too, that we want to talk about, things from the Small Business Development Center. And I was reading some this morning as well on how much that can change the outcome of what people that are going into business that maybe not have the business experience, but they got this great talent, and they really want to bring something to fruition. But when they use the resources that are available through something like SBDC, it can change the outcome of their business.
It certainly can. We'll be talking about that. And this is very unique because Lorraine and I have worked at the SBDC for 14 plus years.
Wow.
Her as associate director, myself as the director. I have the pleasure of that title, but I have to tell you, couldn't do it without Lorraine. She is a major contributor. People that know us laugh the working relationship we have. But with her help, the center's done a lot of amazing things.
Wow, thank you for doing
over the
that.
last decade, and we promised each other on the way over here we'd behave on the radio because we like to have a little fun at work too when we're not on stage with our clients. But this truly is a celebratory day, National SBDC Day. We have a national organization called ASBDC, which is America's Small Business Development Center, and they have, we have an annual conference, and they do some unified branding for the brand, the SBDC brand across the country and U.S. territories. So they have a proud record. Minnesota is held in high regard as one of the better SBDC systems throughout the country. One of our claim to fame is we come in very good with the capital infusion, helping businesses get access to capital. We always rank very high on that, and we'll have some statistics that we can share here a little bit later. And we're truly here to celebrate people like Wendy, who are small business owners. And yesterday, we had the conversation about, I was going around the table and I said, a lot of people, there's a lot of businesses get a lot of recognition, and that's good. But the fact of the matter is, the largest percentage of people are the people that we don't even think of. The solopreneur out there.
Really? Solopreneur. That's a word a lot of people have not heard.
What is that?
Exactly.
I hope my wife isn't listening, but I'm married to a solopreneur, but we won't go down that road. I won't divulge anything about what she does. And it's not all what people, they get a lot of, you're doing gigs. Well, yes, that's part of the solopreneur, but it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
There's the one-person auto repair shops. There's people that do custom sewing and the one-person hairdressers. Actually, this data is 2 years old. I think it might even be a little bit higher. But this is 81% of all small businesses, tax-paying businesses, are solopreneurs as of 2 years ago when this study was done. And they actually comprise 17% of all working Americans. And remember yesterday I said, if every solopreneur just decided, tomorrow we're going to take a holiday or next week, we're not going to spend any money, it would certainly bring their presence to the forefront as a news item.
Right.
They're quietly out there buying from different vendors and
doing what they do,
spending money in the community that often gets unrecognized. Wendy, the money you spend out there is a solopreneur.
And I'm seeing
impact.
Since the past few years, we've been talking about how people have been changing their business or starting a business, and I think that it's growing. That number is growing because suddenly people were unemployed or maybe lost their job or their business didn't make it.
Right.
And they're like, well, Now's the time, so I'm seeing a lot of that, and a lot of consulting. People are, all these remote positions now where people can be independent. There's just a lot more flexibility.
Right.
And I think it's good in some ways with, the work-life balance. People are finding a way to work differently. So solopreneurs are definitely not going away.
And solopreneurs are basically, like we were saying, it's a one-person business. They're not really looking to add on anybody to help them out. It's going to be a one-person business. So I have a solopreneur thing.
Yes.
I mean, I work here, but I have my own little solopreneur thing I do on the side from home. And I can't have anybody else do it because it's just my voice talking and stuff like that, right? So it won't ever be me adding anybody to that list.
No, but it's a nice way for people also to explore or, pursue their passions. Maybe if they have a passion that isn't necessarily always financially lucrative in a full-time capacity, so they got the job that pays the bills, but
that's something,
Yes.
I know a lot of people do graphic things on the side too, because they just love to draw. They love to do artwork and things like that. So it's on the side. So for solopreneurs, do they also come to SBDC?
Well, absolutely. They do. And we always try to give them a little bit of dose of reality. I want to start a business. And, I'm a solopreneur. That's great. In the world of a business modeling and consulting, you always challenge them, do you want to scale this business? So what's your exit plan 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road? If you're a solopreneur and you're the intellectual property of your business, like a graphic design artist, what do you have to sell? You don't have a scalable business because you really have bought yourself a job. And they have to recognize that.
Okay.
But most solopreneurs are comfortable with that because they say, I like my independence and in control of my destiny.
Yeah.
And so then you just coach them, well, okay, let's look if you are an employee, you got to treat yourself as a solopreneur as an employee. Are you putting away a dignified amount for retirement? What about your health care? What about that? And oftentimes we run them through that exercise. So when they charge for a service, because small businesses and solopreneurs, sometimes they go, oh, can I charge that much for that service?
Yeah.
And then you run them through some of the numbers and they go, I
can.
have to charge that to make this a viable business. So we would like working with solopreneurs, and with that number, 81%, we certainly, I have a solopreneur this afternoon, appointment with a solopreneur.
Right. And I would imagine that the solopreneurs were affected. Randy, we've talked about that too, by the pandemic. We hope that never comes back around the way it did. But no, we've learned a few things. You were able to help those people through those situations too, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Barry and I remember when we keep saying we're not going to talk about the pandemic.
I know, but it's part of our history and recent history.
And what businesses have, everyone, was affected in one way or the other. But as we've talked about, some businesses flourished and boomed, and then others didn't make it. So it's just been a really tough time. But what's coming out the other side that's inspiring to me is I think there's a lot of new entrepreneurs that are starting businesses, and it's a wonderful creative time for businesses. So, I think good has come out of it.
You have to keep it positive. And you always have to remind. The news. You turn it on. It's horrible. They're talking about spikes in China with another variant coming around of COVID, and all the things that's going on the world stage. You got to remind yourself, and businesses still start. I was talking to a lady on the phone this morning. We're talking about the pricing, how things are going to change a business that they're planning it's in the food industry, which people always have to eat. And I said, we have to remind ourselves. I said, that reminds me, today's SBDC day, and my grandfather opened a business right at the tail end of the Depression and was very successful. Opened it in 1934 and spun it off in 1957 as his retirement. It was his unique story was the day of his grand opening, he got robbed.
Oh,
wow!
Because it was it was Prohibition and the gangster era, and they got robbed by they were on a highway in Iowa that was between Sioux City and Chicago, and some thugs came by and held him up.
And
what a way to get started.
He survived.
And he survived. Yeah, they spun it off in 1957. So no matter how bleak it looks, and there was bleak news coming out of the papers then, people still with that entrepreneurial spirit and can find that there's a need out there for what they can provide, they flourish. That's been the trick during COVID. The people that pivoted said, there's a need. People still want food.
Yes.
They go out, I'm going to knock that wall out, and I'm going to put in a drive-through window.
The world doesn't stop spinning because we run into issues. It keeps on going. Businesses keep on opening. Businesses will close too. They will open, they will close. But we keep on moving. And there is always going to be an opportunity for something bigger, better, newer in our community.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
New ideas always coming around.
And we've tried, and we're going to continue here in the future if we do more of these programs to bring unique businesses.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been doing. And some of the guests that we've had on is, I just started talking to businesses on how did they survive the last few years and what are they doing differently? And look at what we've had, Copper Pony was on. We have had Guy.
McKinsey's.
Yes.
She launched, McKinsey's launched their online store as well as she has a great following of customers.
Yeah.
So it's just been wonderful. The dry cleaners, we were talking about them, how they started doing laundry and delivering, and you find a way. And I think that is the heart of the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
And it's not easy, like Barry said. It's not easy. I think this really weeded out the market in that way, too, because it's like for me, it's just kind of who I am. I always say I'm hardwired to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because there have been times I'm like, oh, maybe I should just go back to the corporate world. And Barry's like, I don't think you'll be happy.
It's not where Wendy belongs.
No.
So it's not always easy, but that's why we're also sending the message that there is support out there. Because when you're self-employed, you don't have a boss or a manager.
Well, and so many people want to do something. But as you guys were telling me, too, in the meeting, you have this thing that you want to do. You know that you can do it. People ask you to do it or whatever it is. But you're like, I just don't know how to do the books. I mean, as we were talking to Copper Pony, they're like, we're more like artists. We don't want to mess with that kind of stuff.
Right.
But we need to have somebody in place that knows what they're doing here, or we've got to know what we're doing. And coming to a small business development center is a great way to get the resources that you need and the information.
Exactly. And, we always kind of joke that we're, we've been in the community for 40 years, but we're like the best kept secret. We hear that time and time again. People come in and they're just like, man, I didn't know you existed until so-and-so told me. And word of mouth has always been kind of our best marketing strategy. I mean, that people, if they have a positive experience, they're going to tell other people that are interested in starting a business. But, in spite of being tucked away as the best kept secret, this morning I took an opportunity to run our numbers because we always like to do a little check-in now and then to make sure that, hey, that we're representative of the community that we reside in. And I discovered yet again, even within our last 5-year cycle of clients, that our client distribution is a reflection of the demographics within the community within, a 0.5 to 1 percentage point.
Oh, that's awesome. So here's the thing. So people are out there, they're going, well, I'm a veteran and I have a lot of skills and I have a business idea, but I'm just not really sure how to get started. Could I come to you and you guys give me some advice of what I need to do to get going?
You just happen to have 2 veterans here at the mic. Both Lorraine and I are Army veterans. So,
are you?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know
that about
Look
Lorraine.
at that. I learned something new today.
And I didn't wear my camo today.
Ah.
And this is where she really one-ups me for you Army folks out there. I was infantry combat in MOSs. Lorraine was military intelligence.
Okay.
One thing she's talking about word of mouth. So I was thinking Barry always calls me their street disciple because in my work in commercial real estate, I send a lot of clients there. And we've had now some on, and I love to see the full circle moment of they've gone through everything there, and it really sets them up for success. Now, if I was just out for sell a building, lease the space, I want them to succeed. And I also want my clients who are leasing those properties, I don't want someone to default in a year. Or, so I know if they go through the process with them, that they're going to have a solid foundation to start.
And that's a good point. That's what we do. We use processes. We certainly have consultants that have different personalities. We try to match that and their skill sets. So we work as a team. I think I've mentioned that before. But more than anything today, I want to give a shout out. Kelly, thank you so much for allowing us to come in as we celebrate National SBDC Day, and
it's a big deal.
It is.
It changes our whole community by having an organization that can help our businesses grow here and thrive.
It is. It's a very rewarding. It's a very rewarding job. I guess that's why we've been doing it for so long. Huh, Lorraine? What do you say?
I think so. I get inspired every day by the people that come in and their enthusiasm, their passion, their vision.
Yeah.
And then, of course, watching Barry play devil's advocate or actually act as the small business prevention center in some instances.
Sure.
Oh,
right?
yes. I actually, like I said, I send a lot of people there. Very few actually go. Very few actually make it through. And one recently didn't make it, but again, maybe then she has to tweak her plan.
She can tweak her plan and come back again.
Yeah.
And go, okay.
We want businesses that stick.
Exactly. All right.
Thank
Wendy,
you.
Lorraine, Barry, thank you for being here. Hey, if you want to learn more, we always run out of time, but there's so many things we want to cover. There's a story if you go to WJ1.com about SBDC Day, and there's lots of links there that can click you to find ways to contact Barry and Lorraine and read about what SBDC is doing all across the country and right here at home in central Minnesota.